Adventism now start to get a lot of flack, and they want to appear to be more orthodox, just like everybody else. They have piled on a lot of verbiage and proof text of orthodoxy to make it look like we are orthodox and we've always been that way. And so that is why you see they'll run through scripture to prove that.
Can I just tell LC straight up that I could care less? I could care less about trying to be your so-called orthodoxy. I'm so tired of this. It's so annoying to me, really. It's extremely agitating that you think that because we're not orthodoxy, and so therefore we're not a part of your gang and your little crew. We could care less about your fancy schmancy big theological terms, okay? It's Bible, all Bible for us. And if you don't consider us orthodox because of our stance upon the scriptures, then don't consider us orthodox, okay? I don't care about that, right? Seventh-day Adventists do not care about being a part of the crew. We don't want to look cool, all right? We don't want to be a part of the, when the church was born, when the church was born, there were 12 apostles, man, okay? Just 12. And then later on, some more came around. Paul the apostle and disciples of it. It kept growing and it kept growing, right? But you think that would have been a nice way of reasoning for them at that time? We better not follow Jesus because he's not orthodox, right? Even the Pharisees accused Jesus of not being trained in their so-called institutions. I mean, these people don't realize, back to what we said prior, that these claims, these accusations, these big fancy schmancy terms they're using, all this idea that these arguments can be turned right back around against them and their beliefs, and can even be used to attack the Bible and Christianity and Scripture. Okay, orthodox has to do mostly with the traditions and the beliefs that the church have held for a long time. But it doesn't mean that that's right because they've held it for a long time. Sunday is not the Sabbath. I don't care how long the churches have been doing it. It's not. It's a false doctrine. The state of the dead people going straight to heaven or hell when they die, burning in eternity, blaspheming God's eternal character of holiness and justice. That's false and blasphemous. That's orthodoxy? I don't want nothing to do with it because it's false. So I'll say you could keep your orthodoxy. Mason, you could keep your orthodoxy. Okay? If it's not in this book, I could care less about that.
Mercy. I want to just show what that. Let me just show what that word means real quick. Orthodox. So, synonyms for orthodox. Tradition. Just know that when you hear them say they don't follow orthodoxy, what they're saying is they don't follow our tradition. And what did Jesus say about tradition?
Yeah, what did he say? Let's see that.
He said, I'll read it. Then came to Jesus, scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do the Seventh-day Adventists, why do the disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat. Basically, why are they not orthodox, these disciples of yours? But he answered and said unto them, why do you also transgress the commandment of God by your orthodoxy, your tradition?
Mm-hmm. Hey, right? You know who else wasn't orthodox? Jeremiah wasn't orthodox. Nobody liked his message to go and submit to the king of Babylon. That's not a very orthodox thing to do or to say, right? You know who else wasn't orthodox? Elijah. They called him a troubler in Israel. He wasn't orthodox. Come on, man. That's not how you're supposed to reason.
And honor not his father and mother, he shall be free. Thus you have made the commandments of God of none effect, once again, by your orthodoxy, tradition. Verse 9. But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. When you hear these critics say orthodoxy, they don't follow our orthodoxy. They are repeating what the Pharisees and scribes said to Jesus about his disciples. So, what does the Bible say? That's
The
what we go by.
orthodoxy killed Jesus.
Yeah,
Don't forget that.
I wanna add on to that. I find it funny how earlier in the video, Elsie said, well, Seventh-day Adventists, they use Ellen White as their divine interpreter. And you can't use man's interpretation to interpret the Bible. Just let the Bible interpret itself. And then in the same exact breath will appeal to his orthodoxy. Well, this is how Orthodox Christians have always interpreted. So it's like, do you see the double standard? First, he's saying Seventh-day Adventists, you can't use Ellen White to interpret the Bible. And then we'll appeal to Orthodox Christians and say, well, this is what this means because this is how the Orthodox Christians have understood it.
Definitely a double standard, and Elsie's pretty well known for that. So are some of the other critics. So no surprises here. But definitely a double standard. And let me highlight this here. It says, for the sake of clarity, the actual Orthodox Church defines orthodoxy as true teaching, not merely tradition. And and we didn't say it was merely tradition, right? We recognize this, but at the same time, though, if it's true doctrine and you want to core that orthodoxy, that's fine. If it's true, though, you see, what I pointed out in my examples was that which is not true, like Sunday keeping in place of the Sabbath, like, people burning in hell for all eternity against what the clear scripture says about them becoming ashes. That's not true doctrine. And therefore, if that's the definition, that's not orthodoxy, though they might call that orthodoxy, though, you see. So it's got to be Bible, all right? And it's got to be biblically true. And if you want to call it orthodoxy, I'm cool with that. But if you're going to call orthodoxy something that's clearly unbiblical and false, I don't want anything to do with it. Call me whatever you want to call me. I'm not orthodox if that's the case.
Romans 3 verse 4 is the rule. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. I will never look at this verse the same because of Randy. Thank you, Randy. But the first part, let God be true, but every man a liar. God has to be the standard for truth, not orthodoxy.